Today we will investigate why most people are getting dumber and losing IQ points while using AI, while they think they're getting smarter. So do you really think that you will get any really original ideas, some groundbreaking new ideas by writing into an AI app? Most people who use AI, they will actually get generic answers, summaries from articles that other people have written. So these ideas are not really new. They are actually old ideas that other people have published and written articles about. The trick here is to really see through that, because AI can feel really new and exciting to use, and you feel like you're really a genius by using it. But I'm sure you also have met someone who read something or wrote something in an AI app and got an answer which you know is completely wrong, but they are totally convinced that they're right, and you just see that they're going blank in their eyes and just repeating an idea that they got from AI that you know they're totally out there with this idea. So then we can ask ourselves the question, how do we avoid being there ourselves? How do we avoid being the patsy, the one in the room who doesn't know what they're talking about while thinking they're an expert? And why people are really lured into this situation is because of something that Charlie Munger describes as the lollapalooza effect. Charlie Munger, he was the vice chairman of Berkshire Hathaway and a really intelligent, wise man. And he wrote in his book, Poor Charlie's Almanac, about 25 ways that the mind is tricking us into making decisions and how we live. And he said that when we have a situation where several of these different tendencies are lined up together working for the same cause, we have a lollapalooza effect. And in this case, I've identified 5 different of these tendencies that can cause us to have a negative lollapalooza effect, that we are lured into believing something that is actually false while using AI. The first one is authority bias, because we think that we have a really smart professor condensed in this app, a small oracle that knows everything about everything there is to know. That makes us automatically believe and not question the answers that this app is coming up with. The second one is the availability tendency. That is that we tend to do what's easily available to us. And this app is available 24/7. We could sit 24 hours a day writing and getting answers from these apps. So it's extremely available to us, and that makes us really addictive. The third tendency is the blindness tendency. All people have some area that they have a blindness about, something that they believe to be true, but if another person would see it, they would totally say the opposite. And people that I've talked to who use these apps start to have a blindness about how they trust this app. So the fourth one is consistency tendency. That is that our habits that we have, we tend to continue with those habits. And if we like and if we are actively using AI apps on a daily basis, asking questions, getting answers, we're also very likely to continue doing that. Number 5 is overconfidence tendency. That is that we tend to overvalue our own competence. We tend to believe that we are smarter than we actually are. Especially if we are really smart in one area, we also automatically might think that we are an expert in other areas. So what happens with people I've seen who use these apps is that they now believe that they have an extreme power to know everything about everything because they're using these apps. So they get an extreme version of the overconfidence tendency. Now when we combine all of these 5 tendencies together, we get the negative lollapalooza effect. So if AI would give this person a false answer, now they're extremely likely to believe that and to act out on that advice. So let's go through some examples what could happen here. So let's say we have a person who wants to start a business. A really excellent business starts to become an expert in developing products for the big audiences really want them and crave those things. So while starting that really early on, they will have an advantage over other businesses who get in much later in the game. So they will already be an expert and have an advantage towards compared to other businesses. So that is something that a great business does. But if you ask AI what business would be great to start, you would probably get an answer to start a course business, for example, something that was popular and worked 5 years ago that people have written articles about that has now reached the mainstream already. So that is the answers. That are the answers that you will get writing about what great businesses there are. But that train has already left. It's already too late to start a business like that. The second example is a married couple who have arguments, and they both independently write in their AI apps about advice, and both will share their side of the story, and the app is probably more interested in keeping them as users rather than making them question and maybe saying, oh, the other person maybe is right here, or you should do something uncomfortable and really talk to them and see their side of the problem. No, probably the app will confirm the story that they say. They won't question more what the other person's perspective is. So when both people are doing that, they will actually be more polarized while getting this advice. And it might end up that they get divorced from this. So the third example is if you ask AI for investing advice. A great investment is also something that you know that no one else knows about yet, so that you can take advantage of that opportunity. It's something that you have found in the market, a business that is overlooked, for example, that you can invest in that other people have not found yet. So you are first in the game, or really early in the game. But if you ask AI for investing advice, it will share generic answers from that other people have written in articles, basically. So it's something that everyone knows at the same time. So you won't really get an edge over other people, but you might think that you're getting an edge. But AI is actually giving this answer to thousands of people at the same time. And that is actually another big problem here, because you think that you have this intimate relationship, this really cozy relationship, and this exclusive relationship with this small oracle or this professor who knows everything about everything and gives you very specific answers directed to you. But in the reality, the same answers are directed to thousands, if not millions, of people at the same time. So the advice that you're getting, you're not really having an edge over other people. You're getting very generic advice that millions of other people are getting at the same time. So for example, if you're asking AI about accounting advice, what accounts to use, for example, that works great and you might get a really accurate answer. But the question is, should you be doing that at all? Because if everyone else is knowing that, that means it's not very valuable any longer, and you should be doing more valuable things. So what are really smart people doing with AI? How is the best way to use AI? Well, in my observation, the smartest people are building AI. It's within big companies, they're building specific AI tools for their own benefit, how to analyze lots of data, for example, so that people don't need to do that. Or those companies who are building AI for the great mass to use. So that is what really, really intelligent people are doing. And other intelligent people are also owners of these businesses. So that is something that could be a way to be sure to get one of the greatest benefits from these companies and this revolution is to be sure to be a part owner of these businesses. It could be those great businesses that produce these apps, that make these apps, or large businesses that are implementing and building their own AI within their own companies and making their organization much more efficient. That's my 2 cents on using AI. Thank you so much for watching, and see you again next week.